Well, with the Travelers Championship underway, a lot of golfers, and really any of you who are active, you know those repeated swings can really add up to some serious shoulder strain. So we're joined now by Dr. Michael Miranda from the Bone and Joint Institute, live from Hartford Healthcare Sports Zone, right there at the Travelers Championship. Nice to see you, Doctor. Getting out of the office today, right?
Absolutely. It's great to see you as well, Kara.
So shoulder injuries I know are really common in so many sports, including golf. Which ones are the most frequent that you're seeing in either athletes or even just active people?
Sure. So we see rotator cuff injuries, tendonitis. We see labral tears, arthritis. The activity tends to kick up the arthritis.
Yeah. And what are some of the warning signs that you need to look out for that really indicate a shoulder injury maybe needs an appointment to go see you?
Absolutely. So it's not uncommon for people to have some shoulder discomfort as they increase their activity. And so if they develop pain, especially at night, pain that lasts greater than 2 weeks, as well as any kind of weakness or the perception of weakness, they should seek some attention.
Yeah. And what about the Bone and Joint Institute? I know things have advanced so much, so how are you helping patients recover from those shoulder injuries?
Well, we treat a spectrum of patients at the Bone and Joint Institute, and what we do is, number one, find and make the diagnosis. And we do that by taking x-rays, evaluating the patient, and ordering MRIs. These patients, then once you get the information, then you're able to decide on treatment. Many of these conditions can be treated non-operatively or without surgery, and we do that at the Bone and Joint Institute. We have amazing physical therapy staff there. And then we also have everything from arthroscopic surgery to advanced surgeries, reconstruction surgeries, where we actually can make you your own joint, custom made.
Wow, okay. So as a lot of golfers are gathering now, what advice do you have to actually prevent a shoulder injury? That seems important.
Yes, two things. Number one, make sure you warm up. A lot of golfers think about their swing, they think about their clubs, but really they should be thinking about warming their bodies up. The second thing is maintenance. You know, it's really important to keep yourself strong, keep yourself prepared to be out in the golf course, because it's such a repetitive sport. It's really critical that you work and prepare yourself, get yourself ready for the upcoming season.
All right, some great advice, and I assume you want people to stay hydrated too. I know that can make a difference.
Absolutely, critical.
All right, thank you, doctor. We appreciate it. For more information, you can visit hartfordhospital.org/BJI. That's for the Bone and Joint Institute.